Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Payables and Jables, where us non-critics completely criticize our favorite movies and TV shows. I'm JB.
I'm Brian.
And today we're going to be doing our wrap-up pod of the HBO series The Last of Us. The season one just ended on last Sunday. So we had an episode last week where we covered the last episode, and now today we want to just kind of talk about the season as a whole. I'd like to talk about I got a couple of fun things planned for this podcast, and then maybe we can talk about kind of the future of the show and what we think is gonna come in the next seasons. Since we do know that they're definitely gonna do a second season, which is super exciting. So I think we can talk about what we foresee coming. Um, so I guess I don't know. I guess I'll just start out with some just general notes about the season. I mean, it was. I think, if anyone who's listened to our episodes of the podcast of each episode, we both really like the show. I think they did a really good job. Um, the acting was exceptional, in my opinion. I thought, everyone killed it, especially the main roles of Ellie and Joel. I thought the writing was excellent, which isn't a surprise. Just, even though I haven't played the game, just hearing so much about it and how good the story was, I expected it. That was one of the things that I was a little worried about. I wasn't sure, like, if people who played the game like yourself, would they be happy with the show, and like, would they, how true to the story would they stick to, and all that. And I think they did a really good job. They, from what I've heard and what the showrunners have said, they stuck to the story pretty much for the most part. They made changes here and there wherever they thought they could add on to the story, but they never completely changed it where if they, they thought it was going to be like, something that would kind of detract. So I thought they did a really good job there. I thought the show looked really good, just like the visuals, especially the infected. And I know one of the big complaints from everyone was that we didn't see enough of them, but when we did see them, they nailed it. They were perfect, in my opinion. So I thought that was one of the stronger parts, just how the infected look. And I think just like the variety of episodes that we got was kind of cool. I don't know. I didn't really expect that, right? Like I didn't expect the Bill and Frank episode, the way they did that. I didn't expect the Ellie and Riley episode where they're in the mall, right? So I think it was like those were kind of cool too. They showed it wasn't just like the story progressing with Joel and Ellie the whole time. It kind of went into those episodes and showed some different relationships of people like living in this post-apocalyptic infected world, and I thought that was cool to see. And I do think it had impact on the main characters. So I think those episodes absolutely served a purpose, and I think they did a good job with that. And they weren't just filler. So those are kind of the overall notes I had on the season. What are your thoughts?
I really like the show. I'm happy that it is so successful. I saw some articles saying that it was reaching like Game of Thrones level of viewership,
Yeah.
which is awesome. I definitely have some criticisms about it. I do think that, overall, I think the show is very good, but uh, as an adaptation, I think there were a couple of more things that I would have really liked for the show to have tried to do. The Infected is one of them. I don't think we saw nearly enough. I they were only there when for some kind of plot device, and I don't know. They should be more of a presence within the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
I also didn't really like the fact that they introduced this network thing, but we only saw it once, and it was because it was a plot device rather than an actual change to how the infected work. Um, I appreciated that they centered around the core story beats from the game, and they decided to try and flesh things out in their own unique way. And I thought the actors you mentioned did an amazing job, Pedro Pascal as well as Bella Ramsey. And just overall, the production value was very good. But again, I'd like to see more. I want to see more infected. I definitely want more action in the second
Yeah.
season. I think for the game, there's the mix or balance between action and drama just wasn't really there for me, and just for it being such a core part and such an important part of the ending to try and just fill it out, give us the last 10 minutes of just pure action. It just doesn't really make sense when you've established a pretty incapable character in this version of Joel for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then uh, overall, but yeah, still overall, I would say the show did a really good job. And just next season, I'm very excited to see their take since they've changed so much in this first season. I'm excited to see what kind of things they decided to change in the next season.
Yeah. What if we had to give you if you had to give a score out of 10 for this season, what would you give it?
I'll probably give it like so I've given this a lot of thought. I'm between a 7 to 7.5. I would
Oh
say
wow, okay.
I would say the show is just about half as good as the game was, but I think it could do better.
Okay. That's lower than I thought you would give it. I thought you would probably be in the A range. I think I'd probably give it like an 8.5, somewhere between there. I think,
Yeah,
really solid show. It wasn't, it wasn't perfect by any means. I wouldn't say it's like one of the best seasons of television I've ever watched, but it was very good. Super enjoyable. So, I think
I think for me, I'm approaching it as an adaptation, right?
sure.
Where the
It
original
is.
story is
Yeah.
just so good. It's
Yeah.
just so good, right? So as a TV show, I would probably give it in a higher 8 to 8.5. But knowing that it's an adaptation of,
Sure.
right? So comparing it to, the actual source material, right? And I just don't know. There's just so much more that we could have gotten from it. There's
Yeah.
like a lot of small moments. I'm replaying the game right now. I'm just so blown away by just the little character interactions that you get between Joel and Ellie that I just don't know if they translated into the game.
Hmm.
Uh, Another thing, the further we get from Bill and Frank's episode, I don't know if I like what they did. I'll be honest with you. I just replayed Bill's part, the whole section in Bill's town in the game, and it was just so good. How
Mm.
do you cut all of that out? And
Hmm.
the fact that we're not going to get that at all, and instead we got a story, a very, a tangent story, and it's cool that they fleshed Bill out in such a way, and it's cool that they fleshed out Frank, but
Hmm.
dude, we just missed out on so many great moments, and we're just never going to get them. And so
Yeah.
and the further that we get from that, the cost was very dear, and I don't know if I really like that. So yeah, that's just my
I,
thought on
yeah. I mean, and I think that's totally fair. And I think it's just, I'm sure they struggled with this, right? Because I mean, what's the game? 30 hours of gameplay, probably like something like that,
that.
right?
It's like
Not
15.
even. Oh,
Yeah, it's a
really?
pretty
It's
short game. It's like a 15-20 hour game.
15,
Yeah.
20. Okay. And it's probably what, like a couple hours of cutscenes, right? Yeah. So I mean, and I just think when you have a video game, like you're going to be doing a lot more, right? Like even you say the
Yeah.
small character interactions, like I know that a lot of parts in the game, like between action, right? You and Ellie will just be walking and like they'll have a conversation, right? And it's like that's kind of like, and they did that a couple times in the show, which I thought was cool. But you can't do that every episode, right? Like, and you can't have everything. You can't cover as much in a TV show that wasn't even 10 hours. I mean, I don't know, because the episodes were 45 to 50 minutes for the most part. So in an let's call it an 8 to 10 hour span, like it's just they can't cover as much. So I get what you're
So
saying,
yeah.
but I think they're limited just in terms of the type of media that they're working with.
And I think that is kind of why I don't like Bill and Frank's episode. You only have 9 hours. You essentially have
Yeah,
nine
it's
hours.
fair. It's
Right?
fair.
You have 9 episodes, and we spent an entire episode on a character that doesn't even that we're never going to see again.
Yeah, that's fair. No, that's
So,
fair.
yeah. But that's as an episode, as a separate episode, it was a great episode. My
Sure.
girlfriend cried. It was a very sad episode, and it was cool to see a different take. I just think the story of The Last of Us, it centers around, like, very crucially, it is honestly all about just Joel and Ellie's relationship,
Hmm.
right? So I just think that like Ellie's story, it's very important that we're fleshing out Ellie. So Ellie's backstory makes complete sense that we get an episode about that, right?
Sure.
So, and I would have loved, I would have rather have gotten a Joel backstory. What does he do within the 20 years with Tommy? That's kind of something
Yeah.
that I was hoping that we would kind of see fleshed out. But we don't get that either. And I just, I don't know if the 9 hours was actually super efficiently used, I think, at the end of the day. And I
Hmm.
think that's why, and when I start thinking about things like that, it's very hard for me to give it like an 8 to 8.5 score for me, because I know the story, and I just, there's just so much,
Yeah, I
it
think
kind
like if this
of,
was not a game and this was like just an original show, I think the show would have like blown my mind. Like this like just the story would have been, I'd be like, holy
dude,
shit, this is amazing, right?
dude,
And so I think knowing that it was a game, created by the same guy. So like it's the same guy, doing this. But I think like you made the point earlier. I think if just looking at the show itself, you kind of give it a better rating. But having played the game and it's an adaptation, it kind of lowers it just because the game, as you say, is just so good, and there's just more that
Yeah,
they do in the game with the story and the
yeah,
interactions
yeah.
and all that. So
And the idea of the video game was to be this like interactive, like taking a cinematic approach to video games. It was essentially supposed to be a movie that you're playing out,
mhm.
right? So for a show to try to do that, it's a very difficult task that they're taking on. It's not like a normal video game, right? It's like this is like a movie. It's basically a 15-hour movie that you get to play out. So
Yeah, which is super cool. Yeah, you don't get that very often in video games. Um, so I guess focusing on like some specific parts of the season. So what did you think were the stronger parts of the season, and what did you think were the weaker parts in terms of like episode by episode, not necessarily general themes, but
let
like
me let
so
me let me
yeah, go
start
ahead.
themes wise first though, because I
Okay.
do say I've been very critical about some of the things that the show's done, but when you take a look at what they wanted to do, have you ever seen the movie The Road?
No, I have not.
It's this really really dark movie, a post-apocalyptic movie, but it's literally about a man walking down this road with his son, and it's the world is basically it's dying, like the world is ending, and there's literally everybody is either a cannibal or a robber, and they're just trying to survive, and it's really sad and it's really dark, but it's really really good. The book is actually one of my favorite books of all time. It's unbelievable book, but that this gave me a lot of, I feel like he was really trying to model Joel in as this from the character of The Road, right? And it's very, very interesting to me because when you see it like that, it's a really great take. It's honestly a really, really smart take, and I think that's why he decided to try and bring Joel's capabilities from this like killing machine down to a much more relatable level, right? Where he's only killing a handful of people at the end, and I think the idea is that you save all that violence for the final episode so that it is just as shocking, just as jarring, for us.
Hmm.
So I think that was a really interesting way to try and take the character, and it led to some really important and really well done, like emotional scenes between him and Ellie. So, but yeah, but specific scene wise from episode to episode, episode one, I really loved that they fleshed out Sarah so much, and that was really awesome to see. And that's kind of, I would say that approach was what I was hoping for, like a lot more of, throughout the rest of the show. But just us getting to see what Sarah does on the day to day and just getting her fleshed out so much more, that made her death so much more impactful, I thought was a really, really great move. And
Hmm.
it takes advantage of that TV show medium, right? Where, the TV show is capable of doing that, where, you just get these small day-to-day interactions, right? Whereas you can't really get that in a video game,
Hmm.
so yeah. And then going into episode two, I don't, episode two might I'm just not a big fan of, but I do like that, we got a lot of the adaptations and they took their own scenes and they interpret it in their own ways. I'm not a big fan of Tessa's death, dude. It was one of the worst things for me about this show, and I was not a fan of it at all. And then episode three is Bill and Frank's episode, which I've already spoken my pieces about. And then four and five, four was one where, because they gave us Bill and Frank's episode, they had to pack in all those character moments between Joel and Ellie into one episode, right? And I think that's why it became a two part episode, or like
Hmm.
series thing, the whole Sam and Henry thing, because it
Yeah.
felt like pack in all these character developments and they had to develop their relationship and they had to jam it into a single episode. And that's kind of right, and that's where the pacing starts getting a little, it starts to unravel a little bit for me, right? But they jam packed into one episode, and it was great. We got some really great character moments there. Joel, standing guard over Ellie while she's sleeping in the forest. But yeah, and then five is, I think, what was the strongest episode. I think Sam and Henry's episode was so good, and all their changes were great. Sam being deaf or mute was a really, really great change. And Henry, I really liked that Henry had never killed somebody, and the first time that he's the first and only person that he kills in his entire life is his own baby brother, the person that he sacrificed everything for.
Yeah.
That's a really, really great, really sad and poignant. Really, really well done. And then just going forward, six. What was episode 6? That was Tommy, right? No.
Tommy. Yeah, they got the Tommies. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tommy's episode, that was a slower episode, but I liked their adaptation. We got to see Tommy's town, which was great. You don't get to see that in the first episode or in the video game. Yeah. And then episode 7 was so 6 was Tommy's, and then 7, oh, that's Joel getting stabbed, right? No. Episode 6 ends with
six he gets stabbed. 7's the Ellie in the mall.
Ellie's backstory.
And then 8 and 9 are the
Yeah, and then so 7, 8, and 9 are all very close to the video game. And we didn't get as many backstories that were fleshed out in the TV show as I hoped, right? But it stayed very close and very faithful to the video.
Yeah, I mean, we got the Ellie's mom, right? Like her giving birth to Ellie,
right.
and why Ellie is immune, which that's probably my biggest issue with the whole season. But I have more to say on that, by the way. So, but yeah, so we got that, which was cool. And that I think that it was something that Neil Druckmann has talked about that he wanted to do, right? And you were saying that in the last podcast that he wanted to do like a DLC where it was like Ellie's mom, right? Kind of tell that story. So I thought that was cool that he included that in the show and gave some of that. And I think the most important thing from that scene was finding out that Marlene knew Ellie since she was born. So like Marlene did have this connection to Ellie. She wasn't just like another girl, another person to her. And she's like, which makes the last part even worse, in my opinion. So I think they did something good, and then it actually didn't work for that last kind of episode and the whole hospital thing, which I'll talk about. But yeah, so anyway, to your point, there's not as much like character building in those last couple episodes, but there was that scene with her mom, which I thought was really a good addition.
Yeah, agreed. I just wish we got more of that, dude. Even like I really liked how in the very first episode we got to see the newscast of the talk show of like scientists talking about how it's but then in the second one we kind of get that again, and I would have rathered the lady deciding to bomb the city. That's cool, but that segment was like 20 minutes.
It was kind of so I agree that got kind of clunky. That like I don't really know what purpose that part of we're talking about like when they find the doctor is it Jakarta, right, in Indonesia, right? And like she goes and they have like a dead infected, and she at the end she's like bomb the city, whatever.
Yeah.
I think the only purpose of that was that later in the episode, they're walking by like a crater in Boston. Tess says like, yeah, they bombed a bunch of the cities and blah blah blah. Because I don't know what other purpose that really served to the story. I thought it was a cool scene, like you said, but yeah, that was a solid 15 minutes 15 minutes where they could have spent somewhere else. I don't think they needed that. So I agree. I think looking at the season as a whole, I thought the first half was actually better in my opinion than the second half. I think after Kansas, I think the best stuff, to be honest, was Kansas City. I thought that was my favorite. I really liked those 2 episodes. I liked how it was kind of like a mini 2-episode arc. And I thought Sam and Henry were some of the like my favorite characters that were in the show. I just think that whole thing was done like so well. Then it got a little clunky to me. Like the Tommy episode was slow, and I don't have an issue with that. But then like they went from that to then like the Ellie backstory, which was again it was good, but again it was like another very like slow episode. And then 8 is like all action with Ellie, like with the whole David and all that. And then 9 obviously is, with the hospital and the ending. But I don't know. It just, for whatever reason, that the last half of the season, like 6 through 9 just felt not as, I don't know, cohesive as a story as like 1 through 5 felt to me. Like I liked the Boston stuff. I thought the very beginning with the first 20 minutes were like with Sarah and then like the infection, happening. I thought that was like one of my favorite parts of the show. Like that was amazing. And it's always cool to see like, when the world goes to shit like that when that's first happening, it's always like a cool thing to see, right? And scary, terrifying at the same time. So I thought they did that really well. I like the Boston stuff. I like the Kansas City stuff. But I don't know. Yeah, I just felt like the first season just felt more of like there was a better natural flow to it, and then the the first half of the season and the second half kind of got a little clunkier to me. But
I think the final episode, the ending, it's gonna be a famous ending, but I just think that it was just the episode was just so rushed, and
yeah,
I can't, to this day I can't believe it was only 45 minutes, dude. I can't believe it. That's just too short. That's just way
yeah,
too short. Way too short.
I agree.
Uh,
I agree. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, for me, so I thought episode 8 was really strong.
Yes, I agree.
So and very important episode. But I do if I had to rank them, I would probably go episode 5, the one where Sam Henry die, and then I would go episode 5, and then I would probably go episode 8, and then I would go 4, which is the one where they flesh out Joel and Ellie's
Mm-hmm.
backstory so much, and 4, not 9, 1, no 1, 9.
What if this was such a fun exercise for people to listen to?
2 and 3. I hate 3, dude.
You just you just ranking episodes and the
I love 3.
yeah. I don't really have a rank of episodes. I looked at it more of like as a whole, I think. And I agree. I do think 8 was probably the best one. Like I thought, you said 5, but that was amazing. So I'm not even though I thought the first half of the season was stronger, I'm not knocking that episode. I thought it was great, but yeah. Um, I think so. Yeah, man. I've been still stuck on this whole um Ellie going into surgery and all that. And I think my biggest issue with it is it felt like a very rushed way to get to that ending with Joel killing all the fireflies and saving Ellie, right? And then the whole thing where he lies, and now that was the ending, right? I think they could have gotten to that by doing like having the reason that it all happens to be like I don't know, just I think there was a better way of doing it. It's just like insane when you think about they capture Joel and Ellie, they find the one immune person that they know of, right, in the world. And then I don't know how many hours later, but I presume it was that same day because Joel just wakes up from being knocked out. So probably a couple hours or something. All of a sudden she's in brain surgery and they're going to like remove her fucking brain. Like that feels just so rushed. Like that's insane to think like, oh yeah, that's how we're going to do this. And like, she's going to die. And it's like, what? Like, you're not going to like run some tests on her. You're not going to like try to figure this out. And also like, you're not going to tell Ellie, that like, hey, this is how this is gonna go, and like give Ellie the choice because I think they think like she would make the choice to save humanity and have him do that. But like, and they didn't have to go that far. I just think they didn't have to be like Joel wakes up, Marlene's like being this hard ass. She's like, yeah, Ellie's in surgery, and then she's like, take Joel out. Like it's just like obviously that's gonna happen. Obviously he's gonna do what he did, and I think you could have gotten to him doing that in just like a better way rather than just being like, yeah, our doctor's here. He's just going to like pull her brain out within like 2 hours of them getting her. And I'm just like, that it just makes no sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me.
So I thought it would have been really cool if, especially in the video game, if you get to explore the Fireflies facility and you like wake up and everything is like good and they're like happy that you arrived and they're running tests on Ellie and you get to explore the Fireflies facility and just kind of like flesh out the Fireflies a little bit more. I think it would have been really cool to do that in the TV show too. And I just feel like the Fireflies just weren't really fleshed out as much as I thought they would have been.
Yeah.
What is this operation? They're just a bunch of terrorists that just bombed the city fighting to free the quarantine zone. But like, I would have loved to see a little bit more about them. The only Firefly we ever meet it's just Marlene.
The only like actual meaningful Firefly character is Marlene. Yeah. Yeah.
Like we don't get to see, we don't know what they're about. We don't know anything about their culture.
Yeah, and
So
I thought we were gonna get a little more of them, like insight into the Fireflies, especially after, the first episode where like we do get some insight. Like they're in the Firefly like HQ in Boston, right? And like that's where you first meet Marlene. They have Ellie and all that. And I thought we'd get a little more of that. I don't think it's like I don't think it's a knock. Like I'm not. It's whatever that they didn't do that because there was a lot of other,
well,
characters to. But yeah, go
you
ahead.
know, there's a lot of material. There's like throughout the game, you pick up these notes and you pick up a lot of notes from Fireflies, and it tells a story. Each of those notes tell a different story, and some of those stories are like really sad. There's like
Yeah,
woman whose son gets gunned down by Fedra, so she decides to try and fight, and you find her safe house, and it has a bunch of supplies in it, and she's been practicing archery, and she talks about how she's been practicing the bow and arrow for like quite a long time. I would have loved to see that character get it, get put on the big screen or put on TV, right? And just maybe have that character fleshed out. There was just so much
yeah,
material. But
yeah.
instead, we get 20 minutes of some doctor.
Yeah, they would just get 20 minutes of like, oh yeah, that's it. We have the
Just so
immune person and
random.
we're just gonna pull her brain out.
It's just so random.
It's just, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. It was just there. I think there was a smoother way they could have done that to got into that
Yeah.
ending. And they just did. I can't just buy how rushed it all felt. There wasn't even like anything rushing that whole process. Like, there was no immediate danger. Like they had a squad of like 20 fireflies in the hospital, and there were no infected to be seen anywhere. Like there was no immediate danger. They didn't have to just be like, "We got her. Let's pull her brain out and tell Joel to f off." Like I just what I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But whatever. I got to just get over that. But I think I think the ending was really good, and it makes you really think. And there's a lot of like that moral ambiguity. Oh my god, I can't speak right now. But like that conundrum of, well, who was in the right? Was Joel in the right? Well, yeah, you could see where Joel is coming from, but like also he probably shouldn't have done that, and he was being selfish by lying to her, and I don't think she believes him because the okay at the end she gave was not very convincing, right? And so I'm really excited to see how that like plays out in season 2 going forward. Because I imagine that's going to be a strong plot point moving forward in this story. So but overall, I thought it was a really good show, strong season of TV. Like I said before, I'm glad HBO has this. I think obviously they have the money to make a show like this, and I think HBO puts out a lot of good stuff. So I think that we're in good hands for season 2 and 3, and I don't know whatever else this is going to produce. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I do want to say, if you're in love with the lore and the world and the characters, you have to play the game. You
yeah,
gotta play.
I plan on it. I'm gonna play it. I already decided. I have the first one. I just never played it. I bought it like years ago.
Yeah. But the way that I found out about this game, it was actually so random. And I was just on YouTube and it was like really late at night. And I just started watching this like video game that I had no idea of. And I was just watching some dude play it. And he just plays through the first 20 minutes, well, which is Sarah's death. And the daughter dies. And I'm like, what is this game? This
Yeah,
game's amazing.
yeah.
And I remember when this demo like first came out, and people were saying this game looked really good, but for me, it just didn't look that good because it was just like a guy in a zombie apocalypse, and I was like, we've gotten that a million times.
So
But
many
now,
times, right? Yeah,
like,
different,
oh my,
different.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It was a fresh take. It's a fresh take on zombies, which is cool. Like I appreciate that. It's the whole fungus thing, the cordyceps thing. I think it's cool to like. It's an actual fungus in real life, and so like to use that and make it like be able to infect humans and stuff was just a really cool idea. And so it's a fresh take for sure. And again, it was like a zombie show, but it wasn't. Like it's more of a story about uh people, and like people are the monsters, right? And not the actual mushroom monsters running around in the world. It's the people and like the relationships and all that. So I really like that. But that being said, I think everyone wants more infected in the next couple seasons. So
Well, you know what's crazy though? In the second season, they could go the entire season without bringing one affected. Seriously, straight up, we could
they
just not
said
see.
they said
I
they're going to
know,
have more though. Well,
I
yeah, who
know.
knows? They maybe they're just trying to ease everyone's criticism right now, and then they're like, they'll forget about it once season 2 comes out. But
In the game, there's spores, so there's like areas where they have to like wear gas masks, and they substituted that with the network,
the network, yeah.
right? And at the time, I was like, okay, this has great potential, and I'm like, okay, let's see what they do with it. And they did nothing with it. They did straight up nothing with it,
It
right?
was
So
Tess's death. That's what they did. It set up
yeah,
Tess's death. That's all they did with it. Yeah.
um, and now I'm like, okay, this was not worth cutting out the spores because there are every time in the video game when Joel has to put on the gas mask because of spores, you're just like, fuck. You're like, God damn it. We're about to run into some serious trouble, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really like you get this feeling in your stomach and it's like a very like horrifying like thing and it's awesome. And I was really hoping to see that interpreted in the TV show, but we didn't get it. We didn't get anything
Yeah.
close to it.
Yeah. It's fair. I mean, Druckmann and Craig Mazin did say that they're going to use that whole network concept more as well in season 2. Yeah. They've said all
because
this. So
because it is a ridiculous and almost just straight up bad decision to not bring that into the season finale. Like, I
oh
just
yeah,
think
because it's a great idea. And I get the whole why they didn't do the spores. Like you don't want like Pedro Pascal in a gas mask for every time he goes into a building. So like I kind of get that. But they introduced this new
that their
concept,
actual
which is
reason?
cool. Huh?
Was that their actual reason that they didn't want Pedro Pascal
I
to
think that
wear
was
the?
part of it. Yeah, I don't know. I remember they in the after the first like episode or two, I think they in the post episode they talk about that, and I forget the exact reason. I think that was one of them though, and it makes sense. Like you're gonna have
Yeah,
like your characters put on gas masks. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know how fun that would be. Watch as it. I don't know how fun that would be to watch as a show, right? Like someone.
Bella Ramsey wouldn't wear a gas mask though. She just walks around in it.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. She wouldn't have to. That'd be kind of cool. But
Dude, it's crazy. Like that's
yeah,
what I'm talking about. That's the moments that we're not getting because
yeah, it's fair.
it's crazy because she just jumps in and she's just walking around in spores and Joel's like, "What the fuck?" He's like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing?" Crazy.
One more thing, and then we'll get to some fun stuff. So, just food for thought. So they showed that I guess the explanation for Ellie being immune was because her mom while she was pregnant with Ellie got bit, um, and then like Ellie was born like literally as like right after she got bit, right? Her mom got bit, and whatever cordyceps has been growing in her, whatever, all that, that stuff. But that made me think like there were absolutely pregnant women who were infected and had the baby. So like if that's the reason Ellie's immune, did she just get super lucky? It's like 1 out of 1,000,000. Like, even if like if your mom, like if the woman is pregnant and then they have the baby and they get infected while they're pregnant, like maybe the babies die or maybe the babies are infected. I don't know how that works, but like you would think that there would be, maybe there are more immune people out there like Ellie that we just don't know about.
Yeah, but
Um,
I think with Ellie, it's just the timing.
the timing, right? And that's what I was gonna say. Is there like that sweet spot of like you have to like she got her, her mom got bit, and then within like 5 to 10 seconds, like Ellie was born, right? And so maybe it was just like that perfect time where like I don't know, something didn't happen where she couldn't like. I mean, she technically got infected, but it didn't actually infect her brain, right? So I don't know. It was just kind of made me think like, is it? I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe there are other immune people
I
out
do
there we
think.
don't know, or yeah.
Yeah, like because it could be argued like she was having the baby as she got bit. Like it's just
Yeah.
she gets bit and the baby's already out, so like you don't really know. So and yeah, so I would say like I think that is kind of what is so crazy because she was afraid to even feed baby Ellie with her breast milk because that might have gotten
Yeah.
her affected.
She was right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You want to do some, what do we got? All right. So a couple things. I have a list of video game to film adaptations because I I was thinking of what are the best video game to film adaptations, and is there one even close to Last of Us? And I don't think there is. I found a Wikipedia article that listed a bunch, and so I have a list here. But yeah, what's up?
Wait, is it just live action, or can it be like animation?
I looked at live action because I think it's a totally different ball game.
Yeah.
So I looked at live action. So here's a list, right? And then you tell me if you think one of these is better than The Last of Us. And most of these are movies too. I don't think there have been many shows like live action shows that came from video games. But Mortal Kombat, there's a bunch of those, right? Assassin's Creed with Michael Fassbender, never saw it. Heard it wasn't very good. Hitman, I never saw that. Tomb Raider, which those were decent movies, especially like the OG ones, like with Angelina Jolie. Resident Evils, some of those were enjoyable, but some of them I haven't seen all of them, but some of them were kind of ass. Doom, I never seen the Doom movies, so I don't know. Max Payne, do you remember Max Payne?
Yeah.
So they made a movie of that. Yeah, was that Mark Wahlberg? Yeah, I saw that a long time ago. Don't even really remember it. Need for Speed, that was with I forget his name from Breaking Bad. Who is the character from Jesse?
Oh, Aaron.
Or yeah. Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul,
right?
thank you.
Need for
Yes.
Speed, yeah.
Yes.
Warcraft, which actually was animated, right? So it was a World of Warcraft movie that came out like 2016. Rampage with The Rock. The Sonic the Hedgehog movies, and then Uncharted is like the most recent one, so I haven't even seen most of these, but I think the point is like none of these are very memorable for like being really good.
That's the whole.
I mean, there's more, but these are the most like well-known ones that I grabbed from that list. There's a bunch that I didn't even recognize what the hell they were. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I think it's probably safe to say that The Last of Us is probably the best video game to live action film adaptation there's been, because I think like this is like a critically acclaimed show. None of those movies are even really like they're not in your mind like, oh, that was a really good movie. You're just like, yeah, Mortal Kombat, it was fun to watch, but it was stupid. It was bad. Like it's just
It's so hard. I don't understand.
I don't know. I did find one, and I actually put this on my list to watch. It's called Werewolves Within. This came out in 2021. It's like a horror comedy. And it is, I think it's on Hulu right now, but it has like Sam Richardson, who was in Veep. I don't know if you ever watched Veep, but he was Richard Splatt in Veep. He was in that show Detroiters, and it actually has the woman from AT&T, the Lily from AT&T. She's in it. Yeah.
That's
so apparently that was a video game, and it actually has pretty good reviews. So I was gonna check that out. But yeah, that's what I could come up with video game to film adaptations.
Wow.
So it's been a rough go for people trying to do this.
The Max Payne could actually be turned into like a good movie if you were to try that.
Yeah.
I'm actually I got pretty interested in that, and I was thinking about trying to get the third one, but I obviously have not. But
that was one of the first games I remember you could do like slow-mo and you could like dive and shoot. And I was like, whoa, this is sweet. This is awesome.
Yeah, but they're like remaking the very first one.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. What else I got? Oh, so do you want to hear a list of actors that were up for the role of Joel?
Okay, can I tell you, because I have thought about this a lot. Okay. So I think Josh Brolin, like if they could get anybody, Josh Brolin would have been so.
Well, he is on the list.
So good in the role.
He was on the list.
Then obviously Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's on the list.
Oh, so you've seen this list?
No.
Oh, you're just guessing. Like you're just saying who you thought would be good.
Yes.
Okay, so hold on. You got Hugh Jackman. You got Josh Brolin. And these are actors who were considered or auditioned for the role of Joel. So that's who these people are.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Tom Hardy is another one that
you got. Tom Hardy.
Amazing.
Yep. He's there.
He's on the list. Okay.
He's on the list.
The guy from The Boys.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I was hoping if Carl, because I think the other
Yeah, is
three
that
kind of unrealistic, right? Because they're like S tier level actors. These guys are like top tier Hollywood level actors. But I think Carl Urban actually
Carl
could have,
Urban?
yeah,
Yeah,
if they gave him a call, I think that's something he would have really considered.
yeah, I
Uh,
like that one. He's not on the list, but I like that. He's
yeah.
better than half the people on here because I'm going to read you some names. It's some of them are like I could not see it.
Yeah. But those are my four. But Josh Brolin would have been
I think
amazing.
Josh Brolin would have been perfect. Yeah, I mean, I think Pedro Pascal knocked it out of the park. So I'm not.
He did a
I
good job.
yeah.
He did a good
Um.
job.
So all right, I'm gonna say the names and you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if you think they'd be good or not. Matthew McConaughey.
What the hell? No,
Matthew
what?
McConaughey. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
He's a
Um.
great actor. Don't get me wrong, but that's a bad fit. I don't
I
know who's
agree.
like.
I agree. I couldn't even imagine like I just imagine like his like accent.
Oh,
I just like
right.
imagine his character from like um Magic Mike and being Joel. Like I just I always struggle with this dude's name, but he's so good. Mahershala Ali, is that how you say it?
Oh,
He,
Mahershala
he's
Ali.
yeah, he's been in a lot. He's a fantastic
Okay.
actor. Um
Okay.
I don't know.
What?
I don't have too much. I think he would have been really good because everything I've seen him in, he like knocks out the park. He just doesn't like strike me as like the Joel type though. Like I
Either Pedro Pascal did not strike me as a Joel type dude.
yeah,
Like
but
seriously.
Pedro, but they made Pedro Pascal like kind of like rough and rugged, whereas like Ali, like every time everything I've seen him in, he's like so like polished and like just I don't know.
So yeah, dappered up, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So to imagine him like I don't know with like a beard or something or whatever. So that one, I mean, whatever. I don't have too
Yeah.
much opinion on that. Hugh Jackman was there, so you
Jackman
get
would have been
think that
amazing.
would have been good.
Amazing.
Michael
Amazing.
Fassbender.
Wow. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yay,
No,
thumbs up.
that would have been amazing. Yeah.
This one I think you'll like. John Bernthal.
Yeah. So I've thought about that before. I'm
Okay,
giving it a thumbs up. I'll give it
I
a
think
thumbs
that he
up.
would have been
I love
good.
his take on the Punisher, but I just think it's too close to The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I think it's too close to The Walking Dead.
Oh, I
So
forgot about that. Yeah, he was in The Walking Dead. It's
yeah,
fair.
like he would be great, but it's just too close.
Gerard Butler.
Nah.
Maybe 10 years ago when he was actually in good shit. Uh, Josh Brolin. I think that's probably the best one, honestly.
Yeah. Oh my God. But Hugh Jackman would have also. Have you ever seen the movie Prisoners?
No, I've heard that's a really good movie though. I
He's
think he would
basically
have been
he's
really good.
basically Joel in
Oh,
in
okay. Yeah, I think
and
Hugh Jackman would have pulled it off.
yeah, Hugh Jackman also basically does like Joel roles in Prisoner and Logan. So we basically saw how he would be, and he would be amazing. He would capture the physicality of Joel. Like Joel is supposed to be like 6'2". He's like 200 pounds. And I think he would have really captured like the physical like bruteness of Joel, which would have been
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I agree. Well, John Hamm. I don't think he would have been a good Joel.
Too dappered up.
Uh, yeah, too dapper. That's the thing. Like, I think of Joel as like this rough, rugged dude, and like that's like, yeah, I don't. David Harbour.
Who?
So, the dude from the cop from Stranger Things. He was
Well, I'm gonna wait. What's
he
his name?
he
David.
David Harbour. Yeah, he was the guy in the Black Widow movie. He was like their dad, like the Russian dude.
Okay. Ooh,
Yeah, he could have been
okay.
good. I think he could have been good. I like him. I don't know if did you see
Too much.
that the Santa movie? What was that called? Violent Night. Did you see that where he plays Santa? It came out like this past year around Christmas. Oh, you haven't seen Violent Night? You got to check out Violent Night, dude. It's literally just him as Santa murdering a bunch of dudes. It's great. It's fantastic.
Okay. I think he's a bit too much of like a dad though. Like
Yeah,
like he would
yeah.
have to be somewhat like pretty fit, but I would have to see him in more stuff. So I'm not gonna give him a thumbs up.
Okay.
First impression
Keanu,
though, would be a thumbs down.
Keanu Reeves.
Nah. You know, you know what I've
I'm gonna give
actually
that thumbs down too. I love Keanu Reeves, but I don't know. I can't see him as Joel. I don't know why. I just
he's too Keanu.
yeah.
He's just Keanu. You know what I've realized about Keanu Reeves, right? I don't know if he's a good actor. seriously, I don't know if he's a good actor. He's very
He
dedicated
might not be.
to his craft of action, right?
Yeah.
And very dedicated to that. But as an actor, I don't know if he's very good. So
Yeah. And I think this role took like you needed a really good actor for this role. Yeah.
I'm
This one's a bad one in my opinion. Chris Hemsworth. I can't see that at all. I can't see Chris
too
Hemsworth at all.
young. He's too young. But I do
He
want to
is
see I do want to see Chris Hemsworth in more serious roles. I saw he plays a military dude,
Extraction.
Distraction, and
Yeah, he was good in
I
that.
I would like to see him take on more like serious like action roles like that, and
Yeah.
I think he could really change his image because right now he's just too goofy. Like even Thor as a character is just too goofy, and it's just hard to take him serious.
Well, that was the
But
point of Thor. That was the point of Thor in the MCU.
and I think
I
yeah,
thought I thought they actually did that. I thought them going goofy with Thor was actually a good move. I
I
can't take Thor. I can't take Thor seriously as a character. It's just like a dude with a hammer who flies. It's like,
oh yeah, but still at the same time he's a god. He's an
oh
actual
sure, yeah.
he is an actual
I mean,
god.
dude, I think in like Endgame, like I thought he was really like he was very serious. Like he
What do you mean he was
or
fat?
well, like
Oh,
no. Well, that's fair. Going from Infinity War into well, we were saying fat people can't be serious. I don't really get that
no,
take,
I'm
but
just saying like he looked hella goofy.
yeah, he did. No, from in end of Infinity War until the beginning of Endgame, I thought like he played really well because he was serious. Like he thought he killed Thanos and he didn't, and then they go back and he chops his head off and he's like super depressed
True.
and sad. I thought he did, yeah. But I get what you're saying. Anyway, we don't need to have a whole. All right, so Chris Hemsworth thumbs down. This is the worst one in my
I think
opinion.
actually, but
For
I think he's
Hemsworth?
too young. Yeah,
Okay.
I think, but so he is
I
too
can't see
young.
it.
But I think he's pretty talented as an actor. So
I
I
think
just
he
want
is
to
too, but I don't know. I couldn't see him as Joel. I just don't think it works with blonde hair and stuff. Um,
yeah.
although I think Charlie Hunnam could have been good. I think Charlie Hunnam because he's like played like yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
Actually, I'll change Chris Hemsworth to a thumbs down.
okay. Okay, good.
But
We're on the same page. This I think this is the worst one just because of his age. Harrison Ford.
what?
Like how could Harry yeah, he's too old. I think Harrison Ford's an amazing actor, and I think 20 years ago he could have done it. But
It would have to be like 30 years ago
I mean,
for
dude,
him.
what's Harrison Ford? Is he close to 80?
80. He's like in his 80s,
So
dude.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they were doing what they were doing with that.
I'm like pretty sure he's like 80s.
Tom Hardy, which you said, which I thought would be a good one, and then Joel Edgerton, which yeah,
Joel.
yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff. I can't remember.
Yeah, the name
He kind of
sounds.
looks like Joel,
Oh, dude, this guy
or
would have been amazing. Oh my God. Yeah, I
you
know
know who I'm talking
exactly.
about? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Dude, actually, this dude would have been amazing.
He would have been good.
I
Yeah.
saw him in the movie Warrior. He's so
Oh
good.
yeah, that was the fight that the fighting the martial arts movie. Yeah,
Dude,
he was good in
unbelievable.
that.
Wow.
So yeah,
We would have been blessed to have him as Joel. Holy
but
crap.
I think Pedro Pascal did a great job, and I don't think like I think I think he played it really well. So I'm not.
Dude,
I don't
nice
think
show.
any one of these actors. I don't know. Now that there's been a season with Pedro Pascal as Joe, I can't really like picture anyone else doing it to be honest. But
I still can.
those are all the people. Some big names. Some big names.
I still can. Sometimes, Pedro Pascal did a great job, but I think that one
But
of the actors, Joel Edgerton, Josh Brolin, um, Hugh Jackman, I think they would have done an even better job.
okay, okay. Well, we'll never know.
It's hard to say. We are very lucky to get Pedro's take on the character, and he did
Yeah.
fantastic.
All right, I got two more topics here. Do you think they'll make spin-off shows of this eventually?
Yes.
Do you think that HBO is going to try to do like a franchise of like Last of Us? Because there's a lot you could do. I think like you could go into backstories. You can do the 20 years between, the when it starts and then where we find Joel in the show. Like you could just do that as a show.
People are begging.
Do Fireflies. You could do a bunch of
Yeah,
shit.
people are begging Neil Druckmann to turn that into a game. the 20 years. They want a Joel backstory, dude. People want it.
Oh wow, okay. Is he like considering it at all, or do you know? Well, he's probably just
But they
he's probably
are
so focused on the show right now. He's just
yeah,
not.
but they are making a Last of Us multiplayer game. So I think it could be pretty good. The
Like
thing
a
about
like online, like what do you mean? Like an online multiplayer?
Yeah, so the original Last of Us game had a
I
multiplayer.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, like team deathmatch and all that.
Right.
And it's actually a lot of fun. So it got popular for like a little bit, and then but obviously the servers aren't on anymore.
Right. Did Last of Us 2 have it too? No. Okay.
People were very disappointed that it didn't.
Hmm.
But now it came out that they are just turning it into a full multiplayer experience.
Hmm.
So yeah, it could be a lot of fun. Like we should
Yeah.
play it.
I think
Yeah.
I don't know. I get a little weary when these like studios or these companies like decide to make stuff a franchise and they go too longer than it should. I mean, like look at all like the shitty Star Wars stuff that's come out
Yeah.
from like the main stuff and the main canon. And like I don't know. I mean, the Last of Us is really cool, and I just think if they oversaturate it with a bunch of Last of Us stuff, you're gonna have a different opinion
Yeah.
on it 5 years
That's
later, right?
that's
After
very
all this stuff's
true.
gonna, yeah.
That's very, very true. But I think that, Neil Druckmann, he's a
Well, if he
unbelievable.
stays involved, that's the thing though. So sometimes a lot of the original like showrunners that don't and writers don't stay involved, and
Yeah.
you have
So
different people working on the project. So that's where I start getting worried. Like if Druckmann's not involved, anything Druckmann does with this like universe, I'm on board with because obviously what he's put out so far is amazing.
yeah.
But if it starts like if he's not involved and he's just like oh he's an executive producer or whatever, and they're not even really involved, it's kind of I don't know. So we'll see. But I think
Well,
it's something
I
that could
think
come.
his role here was producer, right?
Yeah, well, but he was like it was like him and Craig Mazin were like the
Yeah.
main
Yeah.
showrunner. They were the dudes, yeah. But
Yeah, I was so I mentioned this before. A lot of controversial things happened in the second game, like very, very controversial. Like if you look this game up on Metacritic, the reviews from the audience are not good at all because of some of the controversial things that happened in this game.
oh, really? People, I thought it was pretty widely liked, like the first one was.
No,
Oh,
definitely not. Definitely not. It was hated by many
it's
people.
hated,
It's hated. Like people hate. There are people that hate this game. Many people. There's like a very
but for like
loud
a good reason, or is it some like bullshit, like
spoiler reasons.
Okay, well, I don't want to do any of that.
And
Like
I would
if it's people hating it because like the main character's a lesbian, like that shit, like I don't have time. Like
so
that's not a good reason to hate a game. If it's like plot and story driven stuff, like that's fine. So that's why, and I don't, we don't want to spoil and do
well,
anything like
it's
that.
both.
But
It was kind of both. It was kind
okay,
of both.
yeah,
But
well,
yeah, I'm not gonna spoil anything for you, but to be honest with you though, I was one of them. Like I refused to play the game because I spoiled a big controversial one of like the huge controversial things that happened, and I
mhm.
refused to play the game for many years. But it
Wait,
one
what do you
game
mean you spoil? Like it got spoiled for you? Like the something that happens got? Oh, okay,
so I was very excited for the second one, so I like followed the release, and there was this thing popping up on the internet being like, "Oh, X spoiler," blah 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 blah, and I decided to watch it, and it was like a big part of the game, and I was like, "Shit, I'm not
yeah,
getting this game."
interesting. But you played
Yeah,
it. You have played through it.
I played it. I actually just played it for the first time this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And what
but
was your overall? Did you like it or
so my what happens in the story is still a big problem for me,
okay?
but it's an unbelievable game, dude. It's
Yeah.
of course,
Okay.
and it's the scope is bigger than the first one,
So I've heard.
and just
Yeah.
like the gameplay is unbelievable. It's amazing. Like in the game, in the second game, they've fine-tuned the AI so much that it like feels like you're like fighting and killing real people, and it's crazy.
Damn.
Like when you kill somebody, like the other people that you're fighting will be like, Brandon, no, you killed my friend, and then they'll start being more aggressive, and they'll like try to attack you more often and things like that, and it gets really intense.
That's pretty
Really,
cool.
yeah, it's amazing, dude. It's
Yeah.
amazing. But so even in the first game, they the remake they put this in, but they started doing strategies too. So they'll be like, flank them. I'm covering you, or he's like, I'm reloading, cover me, and they start and they like coordinate with each other and everything. It's really cool, really really cool.
I'm definitely gonna play both of them, probably this year. But yeah, I think I didn't know that. I thought it was pretty like widely accepted that
Definitely not.
they like the second one, but I'm sure that there is a wide spectrum of opinions on why people don't like it, like there is for everything, and I'm sure a lot of that is just toxic opinions that I like is probably not a good reason to dislike a game. Like it, I think I'm sure there are good reasons for disliking it, and I'm sure people have their reasons for disliking it that are just because they're, I don't know.
Oh sure, sure.
I don't
Yeah.
want to get into too much, but it's like why people didn't like the so a lot of people didn't like the third episode of the show because it was like a gay love story, and it's like if that's the reason you don't like it, that's stupid because that's not even like come
Yeah.
on, if you have an issue with the plot or like whatever or something like that, like I understand that, but I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
we can
No,
move on.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm not
I
saying that's you. I'm just saying
no
I
no
can
no
see
no.
there a lot being a lot of that out there. Yeah,
Yeah, and there is, and
yeah.
there is. Yeah, even for the second game, there's a bit of a political agenda,
Hmm.
but it doesn't impact the game. So
Okay.
and which which I really Neil Druckmann is really good at that. He's really good at incorporating like
Yeah.
his into
I think he want. I think
a way where it's not, yeah
he wants he's telling stories of that have like real world, you know, like it's stuff that happens in the real world and like themes that like apply to us in our everyday lives and just everything going on. So and I mean that's like I think I think our art should have that, especially movies and shows. I think not all the time. Like sometimes you just want to watch a Fast and Furious movie where there's just dumb action, right? And like that's great, but sometimes something like this is more meaningful, and I want it to like have kind of like real world scope. So
yeah. But the second game, it's a lot darker. It's much darker than the first one.
I mean
Uh,
story wise or like the actual game, like the actual like setting.
no, like
Like
story
you play
wise.
more at night, or okay, I didn't know what you meant. If you
Well, yes,
okay,
you play more at night, but
okay,
like story is actually like it's a lot darker.
interesting.
So,
Okay, wow,
uh,
this one's pretty dark,
so I'm
but
just yeah, the first one's dark,
yeah.
but this one is like hopeless. There's like
Oh
no hope.
wow, okay,
Yeah, so it's like really dark. So I'm just curious to see how they adapt it. It's also just
yeah,
it's like the second game is like 25 hours. It's like a full 10 hours longer than the
the
first
longer
one.
game. Yeah, well, I think they said they're gonna try to split it up into two seasons. I
Yeah.
think that's what
Yeah,
the plan is. So
there's two different time skips. So the Ellie's like 5 years older when the game first opens, and then she's like even older than that towards the
okay,
end of the game.
well, before we spoil something, let's move on. And
I'm just
so sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm just I know that they're like trying to film the second part right away, so I'm just like curious to see if they're like if they're gonna try and flesh out what happens within those first 5 years that the second game skips.
Okay,
And I think that'd be a great idea. I would love to see that.
yeah, yeah. All right, let's end with some trivia. So since you're an expert on The Last of Us, I think this is all from the first game slash show. So
Okay.
let's see what you can get. I got 5 questions. All right. Well, first one. So there are 5 actresses in the show that had parts in the game, which would really
Oh,
just be voices in the game. So if you can name the actor or actresses, like that's bonus. But if you can just name the character, who like that, well, I guess so. If you can
okay.
name like what character in the show,
Yeah.
if like that, yeah, they were played by someone who voiced a character in the
Yeah.
game.
I think I know 4. The
Okay.
fifth one might escape me. Okay, so Troy Baker,
Yep.
he's David's henchman.
Yep.
Ashley Johnson is Ellie's mom. She
Yep.
plays Ellie in the video game. Marlene plays Marlene.
Yep.
And then Joel's little brother, the Tommy's voice actor, I forget his name. He plays the woman's like right hand man.
Wait, so yeah, Jeffrey Pierce played Joel's brother Tommy in the games and new character Perry in the show. Wait, I don't
Harry.
remember. Which one was Perry?
He's the dude with like the beard, and he gets
Oh,
wrapped
that's
by.
right. In Kansas City. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Okay. Now the fifth one.
You know this because you told me this last week. It's definitely a little more. It's definitely harder.
I told you this.
Yeah, you mentioned this last week, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Shit.
So it's a person that has a part.
Actually, yeah, she had she was in the first and second game. She voiced a character in the second game as well.
Dina. Oh no! Fuck.
Who?
No. She was in the first and second game.
Apparently, I think. Yeah, I already gave you a hint that it's a woman. So
Wow, I
you
don't
want
know.
to come back to it?
Who is it?
It's Lauren Bailey made a cameo in the first season finale as the Firefly nurse. One of the Firefly nurses, the main one that they were showing, who was like, uh, I guess she played. Well, the Firefly nurse name is Carrie. So it said she originated in the first game prior to her portrayal of Abby in its sequels. So she was, yeah, she was the voice of, I guess,
I did not know that.
yeah. So that's kind of cool.
That's crazy. So
Yeah,
wait, they had the person who plays Abby,
yep. She
the
was one of
nurse.
the nurses. Yeah, which we don't know. People who only watch the show don't know who Abby is, but yeah, it's I guess character in the second game. But yes, so yeah.
Very interesting. Okay.
I got a couple more here. This one might be easy. What is the name of Ellie's mom?
Anna.
Nice. What animal constantly pops up in the background throughout the first game? So from Sarah's room to the movie theater, called something, which I'm not going to say. The animals kind of all over the first game, and they symbolize innocence.
Butterfly.
Nope.
I don't know. What is it?
Giraffes.
Oh, it is giraffes. Oh
So
my
apparently, you
god.
see giraffes kind of all over. And then obviously we saw like they have the part with the giraffe, Ellie and the giraffe in the game and the show. They had giraffes.
Okay.
All right, so you're. I'm gonna say you're two for three because I'm gonna. You got that first one right with all the people. You just missed the nurse, but that's okay. In the first game, what is the song Ellie and Joel listen to on the way out of Pittsburgh? And I actually think they played it in the show too. When they're I think when they're driving to Kansas City, they play it.
Yeah, I know the song, but I don't know the title of it.
Yeah. Do you know who it is? Do you want to?
No.
So it's "I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive" by Hank Williams. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good song though.
These are tricky, dude.
These are tricky. Yeah, I found.
All right. Okay.
This is
Okay.
the last one. This is probably the hardest. So if you get this,
Okay.
so in the photograph of Joel and his daughter Sarah, which I'm assuming this is a photograph that like, because isn't there a part where like,
Only in the video game.
yeah, what football shirt is Sarah wearing?
Soccer. Oh, wait.
Well, yes, soccer. What soccer
What's
shirt? What like what team? Or this could be like international or club. So like what team is she wearing on her shirt for soccer?
okay? Well, I know it's a blue jersey,
Okay.
so Man City.
No. I'll give you it. It's international, so that's I should give you that hint because it's tough. So it's an international team.
Ew.
This is a tough one. This is really hard.
Brazil.
Oh no, close.
Okay. All right.
Just think World Cup.
Spain. Oh, France.
No, man. Lionel
It's not
Messi.
France, huh?
It's Argentina.
Oh, it's Argentina. Damn it.
Argentina. You were close with Brazil. Yeah, Argentina. Apparently, it's a nod to the game's composer, Gustavo Santaolalla. Probably just butchered that. Who was from Argentina. It's kind of cool.
Interesting.
Little tidbits.
Very cool. Okay.
That's all I got, man. That's the trivia. You did pretty good, though. You did pretty good. They're tough
5.
questions. Yeah, wait, what'd you get? You got 1, 2. Yeah, you got 2 of 5. You actually didn't do that well.
I should have gotten the giraffes one though. Damn.
I thought you were gonna get drafts. I definitely thought you were gonna get drafts. I thought you might get the song. I didn't think you'd get that last one. But hey, you did a good job.
Cool.
All right, man. I think we've spent enough time on the wrap up pod. Anything else you want to say before we sign off for now?
Excited for season 2.
Yeah.
Those who haven't played the game, play it. 100%. If you thought the show was good, then enjoy the source material.
Hell yeah. Maybe you should play it and stream it. Be part of the Pables and Jables network.
Happily.
We'll get that going. We'll get that going.
I'm doing a grounded playthrough of The Last of Us right now, which is like the hardest difficulty. But I ramped it up so you don't run so you can still have like a bunch of ammo and you still pick up supplies. Because on grounded with the hardest difficulty, you don't get any ammo, so you literally have like 2 bullets going in, and it's just really tough.
That's tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I think that's all we got. Thank you everyone for watching. If you like this episode, make sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more content, and comment below about any other movies or shows or anything else you'd like to hear us non-critics criticize. So yeah, until the next thing, I don't know what we're going to review next, but we'll figure something out. We'll try to do something soon. Until next time. Thanks everyone. Peace.